Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle with Treble Health, and today I'm going to be discussing the getting things done or brain dumping process and how you can use this technique to help better manage your tinnitus. The idea behind a brain dump comes from David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. So essentially what a brain dump is helping to consolidate the things that are occupying your mind, things that you have to do, things that you're worried about, and helping you prioritize and deprioritize things that don't matter. And this is definitely an important skill to acquire and an important skill that can help you better manage your tinnitus, because oftentimes tinnitus is occupying a large portion of our mind, a lot more focus and attention than you would like it to have. So by being able to perform a brain dump regularly, either every morning, every evening, or a few times a week, you may be able to better manage the thoughts and feelings that you have surrounding tinnitus, which will in turn help to reduce the overall perception of your tinnitus in time. I'm going to discuss in more detail exactly what the getting things done or brain dumping process is and how we can apply it to tinnitus. When we're feeling a lot of stress and anxiety, which oftentimes goes hand in hand with the overall perception of tinnitus, it's important to try to figure out how we can untangle the mess of feelings and thoughts that are going through and spiraling through our minds. And one of the most effective ways is through a brain dump. And in a brain dump, you're actually going to be writing down what it is that you're worried about, or what you're concerned about, as well as things that you have to do. And it's helping to kind of organize your thoughts. And it's a way of helping you start off your day afresh or finish off your day by identifying what things you have been able to accomplish and what things are still left to accomplish. It's easy to feel out of control when we're feeling extremely stressed or anxious or upset. And it's a lot harder for us to identify exactly where these thoughts or feelings are stemming from. Writing things down can really help us define what it is that's causing us to feel this state of anxiety or worry or anger. So taking time to actually sit down with a pen and paper and put some of your thoughts in order in time will help to alleviate some of the stress and anxiety that you may have towards tinnitus, as well as anything else that may be causing you stress or anxiety in your life. Brain dumping can actually be a misnomer because it sounds as though we're like getting rid of things from our mind, but it's more like organizing our thoughts so that we can actually identify which ones are worth maintaining and which ones are worth removing, which ones are worth prioritizing to help us better get a grip over the things that we need to do or things that we can do to improve some of our concerns or stresses. Writing a clear and concise list can be difficult. So don't worry if your first time trying to write down some of the things that you want to do, need to do, some of the thoughts that you're having that are bothering you and concerns doesn't seem really organized or clear on paper. That's okay. With time, it will get easier. The point of this strategy is that you're just doing something to help detangle and clear up the clutter that's occupying your mind so that you're better able to handle everything that life throws at you, including tinnitus. Part of the brain dump process is writing out all of your thoughts, including the ones that you know seem very silly, seem far out there. If it's on your mind, write it down. If it's something you feel like you have to do, even though you know it's really not important, it's not on the high priority list, write it down. If it's a thought that's entering in your mind frequently, or if it's a thought that you have in your mind in this present moment, it's something worth analyzing and interpreting, because it's the only way for you to be able to clear up the space and help you prioritize on the things that actually do matter to you.
This is a short interruption from today's video to announce the Tinnitus quiz. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you or someone you know has tinnitus. We know how much tinnitus can impact your daily life, and we're here to help. Visit tinnitusquiz.com and take a 2-minute quiz to receive personalized treatment plans that have helped hundreds of people learn to manage their tinnitus. Start now at tinnitusquiz.com.
And one of the ironic things with tinnitus is that it really does occupy a large portion of our minds. If we're not thinking about it, we're hearing it. If we're not hearing it, we're thinking about it. So in order to stop that process, we have to get back to focusing on the things that made us feel like us, the things that fulfilled us, the things that made our day complete, the things that made us feel worthwhile and it made our days enjoyable. So we need to get back to that state And in order to do that, we need to work through some of our thoughts and some of our concerns, as well as helping us realize again the things that actually do matter to us, so that we can kind of shift down the priority of paying attention to tinnitus to very, very low level priority, as opposed to at the present time, there's obviously some high level priority to hearing the tinnitus, thinking about it, being bothered by it. But in actuality, everything that anyone who has tinnitus wants to accomplish is to not hear it, not think about it, get it out of their minds, get it out of their heads. And this is one technique that can help with that. So write it down, even if it's very silly, even if you know it may seem far out there, because it's something that's on your mind and it's something that we need to work through. So write your full list, take a look at it. Once you have the list completed, you can start breaking it down into different categories. Things that are actually important to complete for the day, things that if you did complete them, that would be great, you would be happy, but otherwise you could postpone it to another time, another day this week. Then you want to look at some of the thoughts or feelings that you're having. Which ones seem irrational now that you've written it out and have taken time to be able to look at them? The ones that are irrational, you can put them all together. The ones that are more rational, you can figure out, is there something that you can actually do to help improve what you're feeling or thinking or how this is impacting you? Is there something that you would like to do that can also improve it? So for example, if we're considering tinnitus, if tinnitus is really bothering us, what are some things that we can add into our everyday? We can add in the use of sound therapy, making sure that we're not in completely quiet environments where our tinnitus is going to be more pronounced. We can also ensure that our day is a little bit more busy and we're mentally and physically more occupied. So if you don't have any plans for today and you see that it's going to be a gorgeous day, make sure to come up with some kind of activity that gets you outside after your work day. Tell yourself that after work, I'm going to go to the park. I'm going to go for a nice walk. Make your day interesting. Fill it with something, because if you're filling it with some kind of activity, then you're less likely to be focusing on your tinnitus at the time. So these are just some ideas that you'll be able to start to develop once you actually see the list of what the things are that you need to do, want to do, things that are bothering you, what you can actually do about the things that are bothering you, and what are some things that may be bothering you, but you don't have any control over. There's nothing that you can do. So you kind of just have to learn to accept it, which is absolutely not the case with tinnitus. There is no need to have to accept tinnitus because there's many, many things that we can do to improve it. Like I mentioned earlier, sound therapy, trying to divert your mind and body with other activities, shifting your focus. You can work on techniques to help with relaxation and meditation. So there's a lot of things that with doing this list, you'll be able to start to figure out other tools and techniques that will help you to better manage your tinnitus and better manage just overall stress and anxiety that may build up throughout your day. You may find that when you're sitting down trying to actually compile the list of things that are on your mind, you're having trouble now putting them into actual words or phrases. That's okay. Take a break or try to come back to it at a later point in the day. It's fine. In the beginning, it's very common to feel like you have a million things going on in your mind, but yet you can't even come up with a few of them to put down on paper. It will get easier with time. So make sure that you just attempt whatever thoughts are coming to your mind, or as they come into your mind, you can jot them down on that piece of paper. Once you have your list, you can go back to start to look at it and break it down into the categories of things that you absolutely need to do today, things that you would like to get to today but can be postponed and put off to another day, thoughts that are bothering you but there's maybe not something that you really can do about it actively today, but maybe you can start to do something later on in the future, and things that are bothering you but you don't really have, again, any control over. For example, the weather. You might be bothered that you have a party planned for this Saturday and the weather forecast says it's going to be rainy. It's a thought that's on your mind, but unless you know something that I don't, we can't really control the weather. So it is what it is. Just have to figure out some other way of making the day special, regardless of whatever the weather may do. You also may start to notice that there's specific patterns to the thoughts that you're having. Maybe you have a lot of thoughts that are in regards to work or family issues or concerns. Or maybe you realize, all you're thinking about is tinnitus and how it's impacting you. And now you've completely lost touch with all the other things that used to matter to you. It's a good way for you to see what exactly is going on in your mind. And when you see it on paper, you may start to realize, why am I wasting so much of my time being preoccupied with this one thing when it's not really having that big of an impact on my everyday life? So for example, you may realize that you're spending so much time being worried about tinnitus and how it's going to impact your work performance. But then when you really think about things, you realize you just got a work promotion, you're doing great in your career, you're doing really well financially. There's truly no negative effects because of the tinnitus on your work life. And for that reason, some of those thoughts that are related to how tinnitus can impact your work, they need to disappear. You need to let go of them and release them because they're truly not confounded based off of like the facts and the actual evidence of what's going on in your work life. It can also be helpful once you've categorized the different items on your list that you actually completely separate the list. So now you have a to-do list and you have a concern list. So you're better able to kind of deal and manage with the two because now you've broken them down into more manageable components. And your to-do list is probably something that's more feasible, while the concern list might be something that you have to work a little bit harder at trying to break down. And this is something that you might be working on throughout the week, throughout the month. But the to-do list is something that will kind of rotate as different things come up and arise. I find that oftentimes when you are putting your ideas and thoughts down on paper and you're able to actually critique them, almost from like an outsider's perspective, you'll start to see that there again are concerns that aren't really valid, aren't worth paying attention to, or maybe are no longer actual concerns because the issue has already resolved itself. But because you're doing this and seeing this concretely on a paper, you're better able to kind of remove it from your mind, literally dispel this concern and clear up your mind more than when you hadn't completed this list. This small action can have such a big impact on how you feel and how you think and how you see certain concerns and problems in your life. For example, like tinnitus. We oftentimes will view it as having so much more of an impact on different aspects of our life. But when we really take time to review it, we'll start to see that it isn't as impactful on work, on family, on having fun, on sleeping as it was. I can't even say how many times I've had patients who initially tell me they're having many difficulties sleeping at night because of their tinnitus. And as we start to work together, they soon tell me, you know what, I've come to realize that I always had difficulty sleeping. It wasn't compacted or made worse really by the tinnitus. I just felt like it was. But now I see that this was kind of my baseline. I just wasn't feeling my best. And for that reason, I just lumped in the tinnitus with it. When we're able to write those ideas and thoughts down, we'll be able to see which ones are legitimate concerns and which ones may no longer be concerns, or which ones shouldn't be concerns of ours because we have tools and solutions or things that can remedy that concern. So again, like with tinnitus, there's always something that you can do to manage and improve with the tinnitus. We see it all the time here at Treble Health. As soon as people start to get some education as to what tinnitus is, how we hear, how the brain processes this information, as soon as they start to understand the implication of how doing things that help to make you feel more relaxed has a great impact on tinnitus, or how using sound therapy can help minimize the perception of tinnitus. All of these things kind of come together to better manage tinnitus. And with doing a brain dump, you'll be able to figure out exactly what situations or what concerns can be tackled with certain techniques or tools for tinnitus, for stresses related to other aspects of your life. But again, it's a really helpful tool to clarify exactly what's going on in our mind, why it's happening, and what we can do for it. At the end of the day, what I'd like everyone who's watched this video to take away is that doing a brain dump or using the getting things done process is something that can really help manage the stress and anxiety and the wild thoughts that we may go through periodically throughout our lifetime. But it really is a way to help give us clarity and help us see our issues and the things that we're worried about from a better point of view. It's like you're able to take a third person perspective, looking down at seeing what it is that's bothering you today, or what you think is bothering you today, and whether or not there's something that you can do about it, what you can do about it, or if you just shouldn't be worried about it at all. So this is something that I recommend not just for individuals who are dealing with their tinnitus, but also just dealing with stress and anxiety, the normal stresses and anxieties that we have in our life. Clearing your mind through this brain dump process is something that you can do at the beginning of your day to help keep you focused on what you want to accomplish and what you don't want to be focused on. But it also can be something, again, that you can do at the end of the day as a reflection of what you were able to do, kind of like to keep you on track, also help keep you motivated so that you can see all of the things that you were able to accomplish, all of the concerns that you were able to mitigate through different strategies and techniques. And I'd love to hear from anyone else who's ever done this or does this actively as to how they feel it helps them manage stress and anxiety in their tinnitus. And if you haven't started it, give it a try, because I can certainly say that it's a positive and easy tool that you can use. And it's something that I think helps in so many aspects of our life. If you also haven't already subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of our latest videos. Thank you so much for watching.